I think we should start actually with one of the ones that popped out earlier this year and caused quite a controversy when it did come out. And this is going to be on one of our worst lists. And that would be The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion
Ooh, we're
Remastered.
starting right with one of the bad ones, huh? Now,
Yeah. So,
if you remember, Alex, this one was like a surprise drop, right? Like there were rumors
yeah.
floating around about this for a while, but it just kind of like landed out of nowhere after sort of like a direct style video going into it. And at first
Yeah.
glance, it seemed pretty awesome, I think. And it was headed up primarily by Virtuous, which this is not the only bad port they did this year, but this is
No.
probably the worst of the bunch. And it seems like it's a mix of them struggling with certain Unreal Engine 5 attributes, as well as issues with adapting specifically the engine and technology of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, right?
Yeah, that's basically it. So one thing, a key theme you'll find throughout all of our worst ports, PC ports of this year, is that I feel like the base gameplay, when it is interrupted by uh, non-preventable stuttering to some degree, is a hallmark of a problematic port. And you'll find that all throughout this video, essentially. There were other games that stuttered this year, but this one really got to me because one of, I think, the tenets of making a remastering of a game or even a remake of a game would be to try and avoid technical problems that it had the first time it came about. And John and I have done at least 2 lookbacks at Oblivion running on period correct-ish hardware. And, you know, that showed off quite well on the PC I was using for that video. That Oblivion back in the day, when you'd go across these little grid cells in the world, the game would stutter something fierce on a approachably high-end PC of the time. And you go to the new version of the game right now, you get all of that
Yep.
just like you did back then. But then there's also additional ones, presumably brought about by Unreal Engine 5, as well as the massive increase in fidelity of the assets. And I feel like that really depressed the entire gameplay experience. Because for me, I don't know how you feel about this, John. Of course, there's dungeons in this game. The dungeons run more or less fine. They ran more or less fine in the original game too. But Oblivion and a lot of the Elder Scrolls games are kind of just about like going out into the open world and just finding stuff.
Yeah.
And the basic traversal being so compromised is a real downer.
Yeah, it is, right? And it's an interesting one because like when you come to a remaster like this, you definitely want some of these issues to be erased rather than exaggerated. And what we got was exaggerated. And there wasn't really any way around it that we could find. Like this was just an issue inherent to the game. And
Mm,
what I'd like to envision, and I'm not sure how this played out, but so they also did Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, right? So I suspect that
yes.
Virtuous presented sort of like a package to a publisher saying like, hey, we can adapt your old games and run them like the game logic within Unreal Engine and create like a fresh new coat of paint for it. And that's essentially
Right.
the product they were selling to their partners. Because when you look back at Virtuous's track record, it's not bad actually. They've done plenty
Hmm.
of good things, but it really seems like we're bumping up against this combination of like old technology mixed with Unreal Engine 5 problems coming together to create something that feels suboptimal. And it's very important to stress that while this is the bad PC ports video, this is not good on consoles either. So like the entire release just has issues, which if this was truly like beyond the visual level you would have expected, like if you see this, you're like, wow, this is incredible looking, it'd be a little more forgivable. But it doesn't, like, I think it looks nice, but it doesn't blow my mind in terms of like what they're doing here.
No, at the end of the day, it is still within the constraints of the original game design. Something that we also saw in Metal Gear Solid, that kind of remake remaster, much in the same vein of this for the third game there, and that also suffered from specifically like the CPU limited drops. They are a little bit awkward too. So whatever they're doing with Virtuous with this Unreal Engine 5 hookup isn't working from a technical perspective, performance wise at
And
least.
Alex, I have to point this out. I don't know if you're aware of this, but you are quoted on Wikipedia for this game. You are on the
Oh no,
Wikipedia page. It
what?
says The game was criticized for performance issues. Digital Foundry's Alex Battaglia found Oblivion Remastered to be, quote, one of the worst performing PC games I've ever tested, even when played on a high-end PC. Similar technical issues were raised by the game's player base.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. Like, just get on a horse in this game, man. And it is hilarious how much it stutters. But yeah, I think we've slagged on it enough. Beyond the fact that I want to say that the game's last update, according to SteamDB, at least was in July of this year. It kind of has that abandoned feeling at the moment.
Right.
And if it really was abandoned for all eternity in this state, that'd be a massive shame, both to the Oblivion name and,
it's a tough
Microsoft.
project though. I mean, it's not Bethesda themselves is busy with other stuff, right? This is not their, it's their IP, but this is like an outsourced sort of project. So I would say both in terms of the visual end result and overall performance that the actual Bethesda game Starfield turned out a lot better than this.
Oh, yes, by far.
This has some technical features that Starfield does not, of course, because of Unreal Engine 5, but it's not worth it.